PowerCircle, Cookup.
Yo, Dennis here back with another video. Y'all already know what the lick read. Make sure y'all like and subscribe and hit that notification button. It's greatly appreciated. But first,
hey, you, right there. Y'all see it. Watch this video to the end, boy.
Alright, so I don't know how to feel about this subject matter, man, but I'm gonna try to take a stab at it one time for the fun time. I'm gonna need a minute. Hold on, excuse me.
Cookup.
I'm back. I had to put my glasses on for this particular subject matter. This question comes from just based off my next episode. I wanted to touch bases on something that was near dear to my heart in terms of hip-hop nostalgia. Something that's a part of history, something that's a part of definitely my journey as an artist, just listening to music, just our journey in hip-hop, and that's we have to revisit the Rocafella breakup. We're not regurgitating any news. This is just my thoughts on the whole situation that's been in the news for quite some time, and it's definitely heartbreaking to say the least. This whole feud between Dame Dash and Jay-Z. Now, as we know, Dame Dash is selling his 1/3 stake in Rocafella Records, Rocafella Inc., which includes the masters and the one classic album, Reasonable Doubt. I get why Reasonable Doubt is of sentimental value when it comes to these brothers and everybody that was involved in making this album. According to New York, the news reports saying that Dame owes $8.7 million in back taxes. Now, before we got this news, Dame was on social media, IG, where I seen it, and this is what he had to say.
As we all know, 1/3 of Rocafella Inc., which owns Reasonable Doubt, is for sale. And I've gotten a lot of calls, a lot of offers. I don't know if people are hummer stunting, or not. We'll see who shows up, but I definitely got some very healthy offers, and I appreciate those. And, obviously, if someone's trying to hate on the price or trying to devalue it, it would be because they want to buy it, like a first right of refusal. So if you do want to buy 1/3 of Rocafella Inc., you are going to have to bring some bread. And anything over 10 million, I'm going to sweeten the pot. You get an original Rocafella chain from off my neck. So, I say, because I was the only one that gave out Rocafella chains when Rocafella really existed. If I don't give you the chain, it's not a legit Rocafella chain. You get one of these, this is legit. This is the old school one from off my neck. Like how when I took one off my neck and gave one to Kanye, Cameron, all that. So, again, if you're going to call, please have the intention of spending some real money and actually completing the transaction. But if you come with the right amount of money, you're gonna get a chain. Or, at least you'll have to battle with homeboy on the first right of refusal.
Well, there you heard it, Dame Dash itself. Now, let's unpack it. Let's try it. All right, so again, like I said, this is not something I want to regurgitate. Now, as you know, for those of you that's on the new, first of all, welcome. And make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification button. If you're new here to the channel, you would know that we don't really we talk about stuff that I want to talk about, stuff that we want to talk about, whether it's trending news, old news, or whatever we want to talk about. And this right here, I've been sitting on for a minute just to kind of absorb a few things. First and foremost, no, I'm not a journalist. No, I'm not a news reporter. As a man, I don't speak on another man's business in regards to finances or anything like that. So I'm just basically going off of what's being reported. I'm not here to dig into Dame's finances, nor am I here to dig into Jay's finances or anybody else's finances in regards to this situation. But I do want to tap into this auction. Now, without uncovering everything, because I'm not going to get into the logistics of it or the full details of it, because number one, I don't think most of you guys that's on here right now don't have an extra $10 million plus laying around to buy Rocafella Inc., which been in dormant for quite some time now. In the future, is that a wise investment? Who's to say? It depends on who buys it and who got a use for it. However, what I'm getting from this is, number one, as an independent, as an entrepreneur, Dame Dash is one of the few people that we look up to. Say what you want. Yes, he's been blackballed for whatever reason that may be. I've even heard that he may not have allegedly apologized for some things that he may have said in the past. I mean, you know, a person could have a change of heart, or cooler heads will prevail, or maybe he realized maybe a mistake or two along the ways, and it takes a big man to do that. I wouldn't ridicule him for that. As far as Dame go, I mean, he was one of the brilliant minds in this business. It was another video I saw where, and I won't play it, he was saying that, you know, if we're going to use the term broke, and the reason that he's broke, whatever tax bracket or whatever standard you hold these celebrities or these big names to, according to that, he's stating that, you know, from investing too much in his dreams led him to be broke. On one hand, I mean, yeah, that's a real statement. I think anybody that invests in themselves or invest in a business, you gotta be willing to, not to say go broke, but be broke for a while in order to get this thing off the ground. And no matter how rich you are, if you're on the come up or if you've been there before, when you start over again, building a new company from the ground up, regardless of finances or lack thereof, there's gonna come a time where some things do go belly up. Some things you gotta put in the money for trial and error. Now, we all know Dame loaned out millions of dollars here and there, invested millions of dollars, and I'm not here to count no man's pockets or say what he did and did not do, but just to give an overall summary of what we do know. And I'm not going off with no news publications, I'm going off the man's words. And we don't have to pull all this stuff up, because this is not totally a reaction video, but I'm speaking on this as a fan. I'm speaking on this just watching these two brilliant minds go at it over something that's deeper than the rap, something that's really far beyond business and obviously is personal. Before we go off into whose side you on, this, that, and the third, and everything that we've seen, everybody that was there during those times, I'm only speaking from a fan's point of view and just my reaction, just from way in the rafters, you know what I'm saying, from the nosebleeds. I don't like it. If you want my opinion, I don't like how, you know, two good friends feud over money, business, or backstab, betrayal, whatever the case. I mean, you pick a side, that's your business. I don't choose sides. On some real time, could have been better? I mean, from a fan point of view, I wish Rocafella could have lasted a lot longer, but even from a fan's perspective, I mean, you've seen it. If you're a real fan, you kind of seen it through the tabloids. You've seen it through the moves, if you know what I mean? So to be talking about this stuff in 2024 is just utterly ridiculous. Number one, as men, we wear it on our sleeves when it comes to things that involves ego, foolish pride. A lot of us don't like to even admit our wrongs sometimes. And clearly this is like two uncles, old uncles fighting over an old debacle. You know, it might be a little jealousy there. A lot of hate involved, and some things you just can't let go. Like, you know, and now we're at this point now to where Dame has the IRS on his back or whatever, and all this back taxes, and you know how the IRS play. The government won't take coin. And sometimes, you know, did he want to give away reasonable doubt? Is he doing it out of spite? Is he being petty? We trying to get a payday before the auction? Or is the auction, I mean, is it even worth it is the real question. Like, in my opinion, do I think the Rocafella catalog is worth anything in 2024? I mean, like I said, it depends on who buys it, let's just say. Because, you know, we've seen a lot of iconic labels being passed around through the wrong people. Like, let's take Death Row, for instance. And you know how many times that got passed over. Even, what was it, a toy company that owned them at one point. And now we finally got it to where, at least somewhere where it belongs to, like, you know, we got Snoop Dogg owns Death Row Records, and, you know, Suge is, you know, being Suge over there, but that's a whole nother story. Matter of fact, we're going to unpack that. I'm just going to give my reaction to it, just speaking my piece from a fan perspective. No, I'm not going to regurgitate what's being put out there. I mean, if you want to know about any of that stuff, you can hear it from the horse's mouth. Shout out to Suge, free Suge. Shout out to Suge Knight. I watch his podcast, collect calls from Suge Knight. But I say all that to say, to see what's going on with this whole, with the Rocafella brand itself. I mean, we know it's been defunct for quite some time, but, you know, just like the whole thing about him, you know, Dame sweetening the pot, even giving up a Rocafella chain to anyone that gives a hefty offer, 10 million or better, you get a Rocafella chain. I don't know how to feel about that. Now, if I'm a rich man and I'm a fan, from a fan, the fan to me would Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest, like, I think that was pretty low. I mean, I'm not giving away something that we consider priceless, something that you built. I get it, but this is all out of spite. I think it's just two brothers, two uncles just getting into it. I know for myself, like, we all got siblings, we all got friends, business partners, and sometimes it go that way. And I get it, it's deeper than we could ever know. You know, they can only talk about what they talk about, what they allow y'all to hear about. But at the end of the day, you know, these brothers got kids, they got family, they know each other. Like, you know what I mean? It's deeper than the rap. They're more than we can ever know. But for entertainment purposes, I get it. On some real time, I don't like it, man. I mean, as a fan, I don't like it. You hate to see it go, but I get it. If you gotta do you, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Kobe's parents, God bless Jelly Bean, Brian, God bless Kobe. RP to them, it was a debacle with the family. And like Jay say, nobody wins when the family feuds. But sometimes, you know, we can agree to disagree. We can stay on our side and not stay over here. But bringing up old wounds, like, obviously you can see who's hurt. Clearly he's hurt. On the other hand, you know, you can make one guy look like the villain or the victim, or both, you know, either way you look at it. But Dame is playing victim. He's hurt. He's wounded. Whether he admits it or not, we see it. I mean, like, you see people chiming in on the man, speaking on him, talking about let it go. How could he? We don't know. You can't tell nobody to let it go. I mean, we could easily say that from a fan standpoint and from a peanut gallery standpoint. But I look at it from a different perspective. I see some hurt there. I see you hurt by the past. Obviously, it affected your finances some kind of way to more than what you like to admit. And I totally get it. I mean, as men, egos, foolish pride, it forces people to say some crazy things, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you might even say things you don't mean, but that's not a conversation for social media, but it might be just a conversation they should have in private. But as far as this go, I mean, this could be one of them things where they playing chess against each other. Maybe this is a way to maybe muscle. He knows that Rocafella shouldn't go into another person's hands. I would much rather you guys keep it and give it to your kids for what it's worth. Economically, it's not worth anything right now. It's worth something to y'all. It depends. I mean, the Jay-Z catalog is worth a pretty penny, and Jay-Z owns all his masters except Reasonable Doubt. And if that's the last piece to his puzzle, I know you looking to hurt him because you're hurt. And one thing we know about hurt is hurt people hurt people. And we might be ashamed, you know, you could tell it's written all over your face. And it's starting to show. And this is just me from my opinion and from a fan perspective. And I'm not here to talk or tell nobody what they need. Nobody can tell Dame anything because that's a boss. One thing I know about people being stubborn, having an ego, you know what I mean? Like, it happens, man. And money don't make it. And when you put money involved with that, it just makes it even more, you know what I'm saying? Knowing people like that, even on a lower scale, it happens even with them. It's sad to see that. And like, you know, I'm going to talk, you know what, matter of fact, we're going to unpack, just me just speaking my opinion. I'm not here to give a history lesson. I wasn't there. I'm just speaking from my opinion from a fan perspective about my favorite record label, something that was important to me. And I definitely got a lot to say about Bad Boy. Buckle up, but I'm gonna stick with the Rocafella for now. As an artist, you know, everybody wanted to be on Rocafella. When I was active as an artist, everybody wanted to be on Rocafella. You had Rough Riders, you had Cash Money. Who else was there? Definitely Aftermath. Anything under the Aftermath brand for sure. And that's pretty much was it. I mean, Def Jam was an umbrella for a lot of these labels. It was a lot of hierarchies and chain of commands, whatever you was into. And then that started another trend for the next labels to come after that, like the 1017 Brick Squads, the CTEs, the Grand Hustles, the MMGs, or like, and all the other labels and so forth came along the way. And a lot of these labels that sustained and stood the test of time, from the artists to the CEOs, and from my perspective, is like a lot of times is why I explain why I just cannot. I knew I couldn't be no rapper. I mean, I know I had a chance to be one, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. But it breaks my heart when the CEOs beef. Because, you know, especially when you're so iconic. These are two of the most brilliant minds to ever grace this business. And to see these guys fight over more than just some album, Reasonable Doubt. What's the true value in Reasonable Doubt besides sentimental? Now, in the right hands, it could be a pretty penny, like if you give it to Jay-Z. Jay-Z knows what to do with it. And I think Dame knows, Jay-Z knows what to do with Reasonable Doubt. You know, it's just like, you know, I get it. It's like your first baby. Everybody, this is what started everything. You just don't want to see, you hate it when you see things end like this. And then Rocafella Ben came to an end. And yes, if you want to do your research, it's Wikipedia. It's so many documentaries. Death of a Dynasty. Watch that. They let you know it was coming in. And look where everybody went and going on to. Like, and for those of you thinking Dame Dash broke, he's probably saying that he's broke to his, in terms of like he rich broke. Let's put it like that. Like rich broke is still pretty good. Like everybody thought Hammer was broke. Hammer ain't broke. You know what I mean? He might be broke to the standards of him checking all these big bread, and maybe Dame is like that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't count a man's pocket. But what I will say is, I just feel like, in my opinion, when it comes down to it, Rocafella should stay Rocafella. And that includes them chains y'all just giving away. Because Jay-Z, he gives away chains loosey-goosey too. Like, it's some people. But from a fan perspective, and that sound like, it probably like me being a hypocrite. But I would rather get a chain from Jay than from Dame right now in this day and age. Simply because whether it's a political move or whether you actually putting in work, or if it's actually even an original piece, you know, because I do agree with Dame with one thing. It meant something, you know, Jay never gave the chains out back then. Dame did. So I do agree with him in that regard.